The Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, has quickly become one of the most talked about initiatives in the early days of President Trump's administration. Originally, DOGE was a collaboration between tech billionaire Elon Musk and entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy. The project was intended to reform the federal government by streamlining operations, reducing bureaucracy, and introducing cutting-edge technology. However, tension between the two men has significantly altered the course of DOGE. With the departure of Ramaswamy, who is now setting his sights on a gubernatorial run in Ohio, the future of DOGE is uncertain, but its influence on government policy and innovation is undeniable. So here to discuss what lies ahead for DOGE is Ken Thomas, reporter at the Wall Street Journal. Ken, thanks for joining us.
Great to be with you, Aisha.
All right, well, can you provide some insight into how DOGE came to be and what the goals are?
Yeah, DOGE, it was originally coming right out of the election. President Trump saw this as a great opportunity to put Elon Musk in a prominent role outside the government to help cut government spending and overhaul the way government operates. He put him alongside Vivek Ramaswamy, and the idea is that both of them would be on the outside offering advice to the federal government and to the Congress on areas to cut and to make changes. And what we've seen now is that this is actually going to be a program inside the government. One of the first things that Trump did was sign an executive order formulating DOGE as part of the executive branch. And we have since learned that Vivek Ramaswamy is going to be moving out of this role. He's going to be going to Ohio, where he lives, and running for governor soon. And that really just puts the entire operation in the hands of Elon Musk. He has been a 24/7 public presence on X, his social media site, about the types of things that he wants to accomplish with DOGE, mostly focused on cutting the size of government. And so now we're in a position where we originally thought it was going to be on the outside. It's now going to be part of the administration. We know from our reporting that Musk has been working out of the West Wing this week, in the first week of the Trump administration. He's going to have a staff of about 20 or so people within the EEOB, which is an office building across the street from the White House. So they're just starting to get underway, but still there are a lot of questions, as you note, about how this is really going to function.
Of course, and speaking of the two men, was there ever a possibility that Musk and Ramaswamy were going to be able to even co-head this department? I mean, your article mentions that Ramaswamy is said to be very outspoken. I believe Musk is as well. So what was with this DOGE divorce, as you call it? Was it inevitable at some point?
A lot of people I speak with feel that it was inevitable, that there was a lot of doubts that this was going to work out in the long term. Our reporting shows that Ramaswamy certainly has, caused friction within the Trump team. A lot of people found him to be overbearing, and that it also strained the relationship with Musk as well. There was this thought that maybe they could coexist, but this is not really a relationship among equals. I mean, Musk has just taken on an outsized role in this new administration. He's someone who is on his social media site all night long, offering his views, and he really just sort of dominated this DOGE operation. Ramaswamy had a much smaller team working with him. He was more focused on regulations, executive orders, some of these steps that you could take unilaterally, whereas Musk has been more animated by, cutting certain government programs that he sees as inefficient or wasteful. And so going forward, I think we're going to see DOGE take on more of a focus on on the Musk side of things, which is, making recommendations to the Congress on in ways they could cut spending. They're also taking over as part of this this office called the U.S. Digital Service. It'll now be rebranded as the U.S. DOGE Service. That was it came up during the Obama administration, and it focuses in on IT services. So I think there's also an expectation that Musk will use his expertise to really overhaul some of the IT operations within the federal government, make agencies be able to work together in a better way. There's certainly an expectation that Musk will use AI to try to improve the way the government works and functions. And so I think as a result of all this, the Musk imprint will be heavily on this DOGE operation, as opposed to some of the things Ramaswamy was working on, which was more, in the regulation piece.
So it seems like Musk will have his hands in a lot of things when it comes to the Trump administration. And you were speaking earlier how he's now working out of the West Wing. And this was supposed to be, like we spoke about, an independent mission outside of the government. Now it's a part of the administration. So what risk does that pose, or issues that may follow with something like this?
Well, there are real questions about conflict of interest here. I mean, Musk, obviously has, Tesla, he has X, he has SpaceX. And SpaceX in particular has an enormous amount of federal contracts that it has. So and then he also is, has a number of competitors, in the auto industry, in space exploration and the like. And so there are real questions about, does this put competitors at a disadvantage? Is he going to be able to use, his role within the federal government to benefit his companies? There's no evidence that that's happened yet, but there's certainly a lot of questions and concerns that may happen as well. And we saw this week he got into a rift with Sam Altman over this AI project that the president rolled out this week. Questioning whether there might be the money for this proposal coming from the private sector. I mean, that certainly has caused some uncertainty within the Trump team. Some people felt like Elon, was sort of speaking out of school here. So there's just because of the size and magnitude of his business operations, it just raises a lot of questions about how that will interact with the government and whether, there could be some conflict of interest.
Okay, and you discussed earlier about the new USDS, I guess the United States DOGE service, about using AI and other tech advancements for this new program. How is this going to affect the federal workforce or impact any federal agencies going forward, as well as the employees?
Yeah, there's a lot of question among federal workers about how this will affect them. We've already seen a real focus on, hiring freezes. Trump signed an order to eliminate DEI offices within federal agencies. And so I think they see Musk as this force for change, and they don't know, because he's coming from the outside, he doesn't have government experience, if he's going to be able to, make changes in a way that will allow sort of a seamless transition. What's interesting about DOGE is that this is not a unique thing. We've seen in past administrations efforts to reform the government, make it more efficient, make it run better. We certainly saw it, in the Clinton administration. Al Gore was tapped to make these changes, but oftentimes the people who are put in charge of these operations, of these overhauls, have experience within the government, or come from more of a think tank world, and they've studied these things before. Elon is really coming from the outside completely. Now, he has a lot of experience of being, certainly a change agent within his companies. I mean, we certainly saw that when he took over Twitter. But I think this has caused a lot of grief and worry and concern within the federal government, and certainly the federal workforce, about what all of this means for them. Does AI, maybe eliminate jobs, or does it, make my role within the government less important. So, I think this is something that the unions that represent some of these workers and the workers themselves are heavily focused on.
We have to keep an eye on that for sure. So I want to ask more about Musk. What's the public reaction to Musk having so much power or influence in the U.S. government? And does this mean anything for his outside businesses, as we were just discussing? Because, as you said, he's very outspoken on his platform X, and he is a person that says what's on his mind. So what do you think the public reaction to him being in our government is?
My sense of the public reaction is that it falls along party lines. I think, within Republican circles, Elon Musk is a celebrity and he is very well liked. I mean, I think you saw on Monday, he gave remarks to the event at the arena, after the inauguration, and he got an enormous response from the crowd there. I think the core Trump base really likes Musk and thinks highly of him and sees him as a successful addition to this second term. I think among Democrats, there's just a lot of questions about, what Musk might mean for the federal government, and just that he may have, use his money to have undue influence. Musk is an outside advisor in the way we've never really seen before, because, he is so wealthy, he can, come in and if a Republican House member votes against Trump on a certain bill, Musk could, quickly fund a challenge to that member. It's not a lot for Musk to put together, say, $20-30 million and dump it into a congressional district to take out an incumbent. And, we saw him spend well over $200 million in the last campaign. And that really is a very small percentage of his wealth. So, I think among Democrats and independents, there's a question about, what role he may have here, and is he going to use his clout, in a way that doesn't benefit the public but benefits him or certain Republicans or certain Trump allies. But I think this is just one of those cases where we have really never seen an advisor like this take on a role in such a big way.
I guess when it's fully implemented, we're going to see exactly what happens. Ken Thomas with the Wall Street Journal, thanks for joining us on Cheddar.
Thanks for having me.